Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Brittany. I am a wife and a mother and a lover of all things makeup and skincare. So today I'm very excited because I'm going to be doing my monthly Shop My Stash. Well, I normally do it monthly, but honestly, I haven't done it in 2 months because the month of June, I basically didn't wear makeup at all. And the few times that I did wear makeup, I pretty much exclusively used the products in my project pan. So I just was not reaching for my Shop My Stash items at all. Even still, like even after having them for 2 months, I still didn't use them as much as I typically do for my Shop My Stash, but that's okay. If you have never watched my Shop My Stash videos, the first half of the video I will be showing you the products that I had in my previous Shop My Stash and telling you how many times I use them, and then the second half of the video will be going into my drawers and we will pick new products for the next month for me to get some more use out of them. And if you do not know what a Shop My Stash is, it's basically just a way to get more use out of your products. It's a rotating thing. Some people do them every week, some people do them every 2 weeks, some people do them monthly. And it's just to try to focus on those products for that amount of time and get more use out of your products, especially if you have a larger collection like I do. It's just nice to have palettes and products and things like that to focus on for a month. So yeah, if you would like to see all of the products that I'm going to be bringing into my Shop My Stash, then go ahead and keep on watching. Alright, so we're going to be starting with my face palettes. The first one is the Natasha Denona Zindo palette. I actually only used this 5 times, which is just sad, but I was reaching for the other palettes a little bit more. This is a nice palette. Now that I've used it more though, I feel like a few of the matte shades are already looking like I've used them a ton, and like I just said, I've only used this palette 5 times in the past 2 months, but these 2 shades here like already look like I've used them a ton of times, which is just kind of crazy. And I feel like the shimmers though are absolutely gorgeous. I don't know though if I would recommend this as much as I did in my like 2 looks 1 palette that video. I don't know if I would recommend it as much as I did then, just because of that. I feel like that's so crazy. This is a very expensive palette and I feel like those shades are going to already hit pan pretty soon, which is a little bit frustrating. And then I feel like 2 of the other shades, this shade Vigor and then the shade Mantra, don't blend as well as the other mattes, so just something to take note of. I did put a few looks up here on the screen so you guys could see what looks I created with this palette, but again, I liked it, but I definitely reach for the other palettes more. Alright, so next I have the Moira Sweet Delights palette. I used this 7 times and I really do like this palette. I feel like the color story is just gorgeous, exactly what I would want in a pastel palette, and I really enjoyed the looks that I was able to create with it. I really wish there was at least 1 more shimmer shade though. There's only 2 shimmer shades in this entire palette, and I mean like that's fine, but I wish there was just maybe 1 more just to have some more variety, since one of the shades is a green and there's only like 4 greens in the palette, you know what I mean? So I just wish there's maybe like a pinky shade or like maybe like a little bit of a blue tone shade. I don't know. Just my thoughts. And then the last palette in my Shop My Stash is actually now in my project pan. This is the Violet Voss Flamingo palette. I used this 8 times and I really like this palette. I feel like this color story is perfect, especially for summer, but I will obviously now be using it through fall and winter probably, but I do really like this palette. I love the color story so much. I think the shimmers are gorgeous, the mattes are really fun, and every time that I open this palette up, I end up coming up with some new look, which I really like. I feel like a lot of palettes, I open it up and the first thought is like the same look that I've done 100 times with it, but with this palette, I feel like I always want to be creative because there's so many fun colors to play with. Okay, so next I had this Danessa Myricks Color Fix Matte in the shade Desert Rose. I only used this 3 times. I honestly forgot about it. One of the times though I did use it as a blush and I felt like it looked really nice as a blush. It's very pigmented though, so you need like literally a dot of this product on your cheeks and you can blend it out and it'll be a nice blush. But yeah, I feel like as just a shade on its own, it can sometimes like be hard to blend out. It depends though, like I feel like you just have to do 1 eye at a time. If you do 1 eye at a time, it blends out fine, but if you try to do both eyes like at the same time, it can be hard to blend it out. Just letting you know. Make sure to do one eye at a time with her mattes. Okay, so I had these two Pixi blushes in here. These are the On The Glow blushes. This one here is the shade Floor, and this one is Juicy. Shade Floor I used 7 times, and the shade Juicy I used 5 times. I really, really like these blushes so much though. I used Floor more, and I'm actually kind of surprised by that because I feel like Juicy's the one that I'm more drawn to every time that I like look at these, but I feel like when I was doing my makeup looks, I was doing a lot more cool toned looks, and that's why I was reaching for this one instead, because obviously this shade is not gonna be great with a cool toned look, but I did really, really like both of these. I think they're gorgeous. I also had this Moira Signature Ombre blush in the shade Mellow Pink. I used this 6 times, and I really do like this. It's a very, very pretty blush, and I like that it's ombre, so you can use just the bottom half or just the top half and get totally different looks with it. So very, very pretty. All right, so this Pixi highlighter duo, this is the Glowy Gossamer Duo and Delicate Dew. I used this 6 times, and I pretty much exclusively used this side. This highlighter is just a little bit too dark for me, but this one is very perfect. It's a gorgeous shade. It's very, very blinding, so just keep that in mind, but I did enjoy using that over the past 2 months. So next I have the Tower 28 Bronzino. This is the shade Suncoast. I used this 7 times, and I really do like it, but I feel like it might honestly be a little bit too light for me. I figured the lightest shade would be perfect because I am very fair, but I almost think it might be a little bit too light. I wish I would have gotten the shade up, which I think is West Coast. I can still use it for sure, but I think maybe because it's summertime and I'm a little bit tanner than I normally am, so probably in winter I'll be able to use this a lot more. Next I have this Kaja Play Bento. This is in the shade Butter Up. It comes with a bronzer, a highlighter, and then a blush. And I used this 8 times, and honestly I mostly used the bronzer. This bronzer is so beautiful. It is just perfect. And I love the undertone. I love how creamy it is, how buildable it is, and how blendable it is. It is so good. The highlighter and blush are great too, but the bronzer is definitely like the star of this trio. I also had this Moira Life's a Picnic palette. This is a face palette, and I used this 7 times as well. I mostly did reach into the bronzers. They're very, very pretty. And then I did like the shade Feelings, which is their blush. So gorgeous. But yeah, this is a really nice palette. I definitely don't think I'm going to be reaching for the shade Picnic Day very often because it's just a little bit too deep of a bronzer, but I did like this, and I'm glad to have it in my collection. All right, so for primer, I had the No Problem primer. I used this 7 times. I do really like this primer. I actually have very recently finished up a full size of it, so you know I like it. It does a good job filling in your pores, and yeah, it's just nice. So for foundation, I had the Kosas Tinted Face Oil, and I used this 8 times, but honestly, I don't know that I love this as much as I used to. I feel like it sinks into my pores a lot. I don't know if it's because it's summer, and when I got this, I think I got this like in winter time, so it was a lot cooler. So I think this might have to be a foundation that I only use in like the cooler months, because in summer it looks rough on me. It's definitely not my favorite, but I still reached for it a decent amount of times. Okay, so I believe all that's left now are all of the lip products. So the first is the Rare Beauty lipstick. This is their Dewy Lip Balm in the shade Thankful. I used this 5 times. I feel like this is a nice shade, but it definitely tastes like soap. Like, this lip balm tastes like soap. I feel like it's just one of those things, like, you just gotta trust me, it tastes like soap. So it's a little bit hard for me to reach for, but I do like the shade a lot. Next, I have my NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream in the shade Stockholm. I was very sad because I only used this 3 times, and it's because I had used it one day and I put it in my purse, and then I completely forgot about it for basically an entire month that I even had it in my Shop My Stash, because I do love this shade, but I just completely forgot about it. I forgot that it was in my purse, so that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Next, I have this Dose of Colors liquid lipstick in the shade Lazy Daisy. I used this 6 times. I love this shade so much. I feel like this formula is really nice. It is not the kind of drying liquid lipstick that you're probably used to. It is very comfortable. It does dry down completely matte, but it is very comfortable, so I reached for it a lot. And then the last product is this Estate Lip Icing in the shade Down. I used this 4 times. I just kept forgetting to reach for it. I felt like the Rare Beauty lipstick and the Dose of Colors liquid lipstick were fine on their own. I didn't need like a topper shade. And I feel like this looks a little bit weird just on its own because of like the way the color is. If that makes any sense, I'll show you guys. If you can see that color, I just feel like it looks a little bit weird just on its own, so I always put it on top of another product. But I do like the formula quite a lot. I feel like it's not very sticky or anything like that. Yeah, so it's unfortunate I only used it 4 times, but it is what it is. Okay, so that is all of the products that I had in my previous month's Shop My Stash. So now we're gonna go into my drawers and pick out some new products. All right, so let's start with liquid lipsticks and lip glosses. So I definitely want to put in this NYX. This is a Milky Gloss. This is in the shade FOMU. So I'm really excited to play with this. I also want to add this Kaja Gloss Shot in the shade Honey Drizzle. This is a very pretty shade. I've only used it once, so I'm excited to play with that as well. For liquid lipsticks, I want to add this Pony Effect liquid lipstick in, I don't know what the shade is, but this is what it looks like. It's a very pretty like brownish orangey shade. And then I also want to add in this Grande Lips Plumping liquid lipstick in the shade River Clay. This is more of a cool toned lipstick. So since I picked like a super warm tone liquid lipstick, I thought this would be nice as well. And then that'll be all from this drawer. Okay, so in here are all of my primers, concealers, mascaras, individual eyeshadows, the foundations, and then some brow products that you guys can't see. I want to put in this Clove and Hollow liquid skin tint. I have the shade 03. For mascara, I want to add in this Grande mascara. This is their waterproof version. And then for primers, I want to put in the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I do really like this. And I think that's pretty much everything from this drawer. Okay, I changed the angle because I felt like you really couldn't see into my drawers very well, so hopefully you can see better now. So first I want to put in the Pixie and Tina Young palette. This is called the Tones and Textures Feeling Fresh palette. So that is the first eyeshadow palette that I want to put in. Okay, so next I want to put in the BH Cosmetics Trendy in Tokyo palette. If you guys watched my eyeshadow palette declutter, I almost decluttered this palette, and then I told myself that I would try it out and see, and if I feel like the formula is not great, then I will end up eventually decluttering this, but I'm excited to play with it a little bit. And then the last palette I want to put in is the Sweet Talk palette from ColourPop. This is a very pretty palette, so yeah, I think that's the only palettes that I'll put in. All right, so here's all my blushes, bronzers, and highlighters, and then palettes. So first I want to put in this Pixie and Makeup by Denise palette. This is the Mind Your Own Glow Find the Light palette, and it's just highlighting palette. I also want to put in this Oma, this is their Double Take Sculpt and Strobe Stick. So it's got a bronzer on one side and a highlighter on the other. There we go, now it focuses. So yeah, I'm excited to play with this some more. I'm also going to be adding in my Auric Glow Lust. This is the shade Morganite. For bronzer, I'm going to be putting in these two. This is the Clove and Hollow bronzer, and this is the Vesca bronzer in the shade Kissed by Rio. So I'm gonna put those both in. And then for blush, I'm gonna put these two in. This is a little Rare Beauty Mini in the shade Adore, and this is the Clove and Hollow blush in the shade Naked. This is their Hydra Tint blush, so excited to put those in. And I feel like that's probably good for this drawer. Okay, so this last drawer just has some random stuff in it, but it also has all of my bullet lipsticks, so I'm going to add these 2 bullet lipsticks in. So this first one is the Clove and Hollow. This is their Lip Cream in Desert Rose, and that is what that shade looks like. And then this is the Bite Power Move Soft Matte Lipstick in the shade Sugar Buns. So that is what that looks like. And yeah, that's pretty much all that I'm going to take from this drawer. All right guys, so that is everything. I'm so excited about all of these new products. I can't wait to play with them over the next month. And that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Make sure to like this video and subscribe. Also, let me know, do you guys do a Shop My Stash, and how often do you do your Shop My Stashes? I would love to know. And yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me for a little bit, and I will see you in a few days with another video. Bye guys.